If you're someone who's struggling with fat loss and you're struggling with being consistent, you're struggling with being motivated, I get it. That was me a couple years ago. I was 250 plus pounds, and I'm talking like 7 years ago. I was 250 plus pounds, and I had no idea what I was doing. I would take my blood ketones, I'd prick myself. I actually have some vlogs that were like full vegan keto vlogs. I would try low carb diets, I tried paleo diets, I tried every single diet. I tried 72-hour fasting, 48-hour fasting, whatever I could do to try and lose weight, I would try it. I even hired a coach who put me on very extreme and intense diets. For the sake of this video, I'm not gonna mention that coach's name, but you know what? It was all good because it was a learning experience and I became my own science experiment. Something that I recommend to my clients is like when they ask me different things, they're like, should I be eating protein bars? Should I be drinking whey? Should I be having egg whites in the morning? Should I do this? Should I do that? I say, experiment with it. See how you feel. See if it works for you. I talked about this in another video, but what works for one person, the other person may hate it or it may not work for them. So it's important to experiment. One of the things that I talked about was oatmeal, right? And oatmeal for me, I love the taste of oatmeal and I love the flavor of oatmeal, but it does not keep me full for longer than like 30 to 45 minutes, even if I have a huge bowl of oats. I think this has to do with my blood sugar levels and things like that, but anyways, when I add protein to that, when I add chia seeds to that, when I add fiber to it, it keeps me full a little bit longer. But other people mention that oats keeps them full for like hours and hours and hours. And I'm like, I don't feel it, you guys. I'd get hungry in 30 minutes after I have oats. Whereas for me, fat and protein, if I have like eggs and avocado and vegetables, I feel amazing all day, and I could basically run on that for hours and hours and hours and just feel so energized. So for me, a higher fat, higher protein diet in the morning time is going to help me stay full, whereas somebody else might experiencing a high protein, high carb diet keeps them full throughout the day. So be your own science experiment. One thing that I found when I was doing the keto diet was that I thrive off of high fats and high protein. Okay, so I would never have found this out if I never tried the keto diet. Do I do keto now? Hell no. I love carbs, but I do a kind of low carb approach when I'm in a calorie deficit. And the reason for this is just simple. It's just a lot easier for me to stick to. And I find myself having less snacks and just feeling less blood sugar crashes and spikes throughout the day. Now, for you may find that a lower fat, higher carb diet works better for you. You may find that you enjoy eating a lot more carbohydrates and fruit and rice and bread and things like that, and pasta. Those foods are amazing. For me personally, I know that once I kind of awaken that like carb demon, it's go time, and I have a hard time saying no to things, and I just, the way my brain works, I don't know why with carbs, I just seem to overeat a little bit. Even when I'm in maintenance, I could probably eat 500, 600 grams of carbs and still not feel satisfied or full. And that's just how my body works. That's just how my brain works. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. It just means that maybe my ancestors ate a different way than your ancestors. And so you have to be your own science experiment. I know for some of my clients, they do not lose fat unless we start getting their steps up like past 12,000 per day. It doesn't matter what their diet looks like. We have to get those steps up, and we have to give them cardio targets. For you may be the same way. You may be frustrated with your progress right now, but if you start bumping up your steps to 10K, 12K, 14K, I guarantee you that you are going to see that scale move. And if you don't, then start hitting the elliptical, start hitting the stair climber, start burning more calories on a daily basis, and you will guaranteed start seeing that scale move. You just have to be your own science experiment. Something that I do personally when I get frustrated with the scale, let's say I wake up, the scale says I'm up 2 pounds. Instead of like giving up or being like, well, screw it, no matter what I do, the stupid scale doesn't move. Instead of thinking that way, I think this way. Well, how am I going to show up today? Like, how am I going to beat that number tomorrow? How am I going to get that number back down? Instead of being reactive, how can I be proactive today? So maybe today I get an extra 3,000 steps in. I'm super on track with my nutrition and my diet today because I want to see that number go down tomorrow. Each day is like a battle, and it's its own science experiment. Each day you're experimenting with your own willpower, your own motivation, your own consistency. You're seeing what is going to get you better results tomorrow. And sometimes, you have to zoom out and look at the big picture and be like, okay, what's the weekly average? This and that. Where's my waist measurement at? That stuff takes time. But I like to look at each day as a new battle that I can conquer. That's why I do these daily YouTube videos. Not because, I want to record a YouTube video every single day. I'm starting to because I've been doing this for a couple weeks now. But for me, it's more about creating that daily battle with myself, like every morning I wake up and the last thing I want to do is script out a YouTube video and record it and get on camera and talk to you guys. But I do it anyways because I know that it is going to pay off. I know that daily battle, that daily science experiment that I conduct with myself is going to pay off in the long run. How do I know this? Because it always does. It will work as long as you do not quit, no matter what you're doing. If you're trying to be a content creator, if you're trying to be a fitness coach, if you're trying to get that promotion at work, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get healthier, if you're trying to get jacked out of your mind, whatever you're doing, I promise you it will work as long as you keep experimenting, keep trying new things, learn from people who are at where you want to be. This is why business mentors and things like that exist, is because we can talk to people who have been where we want to be. We can talk to them and say, hey, what should I be doing here? What are some mistakes that you've made that I could learn from here? And when we start to talk to people who have already climbed the mountain, we get that easier path up the mountainside. So maybe instead of going around like this, they teach us the shortcut up the side of the mountain, right? I always tell my clients this. I am like your Sherpa on this journey. It doesn't mean that I am going to carry all of the weight for you. I'm not going to put you on my back and bring you up the hillside, the mountaintop. I'm not going to bring you up on my back. You're still going to have to put in the footwork. But I could show you the easiest path up that mountainside. And I can take some of your load and put it in my pack. So I can take a brunt of the load and show you the easier path up that mountainside. And that's why I call myself a Sherpa on a fat loss journey. It's because I want to give my clients the easiest, simplest tools that they can use, but I want them to do some experimenting on their own as well, or else those changes are not going to stick. It's something in health behavioral stuff that you learn when you go to school for this stuff. It's called motivational interviewing. And basically, when something is your own idea, you're a lot more likely to stick to it. This is why drug addicts and things like that, if they have an intervention and they have like family members and things like that being like, you need to go to rehab, you need to go to treatment, they're probably not going to be successful with that. They're probably not going to do it until it's their own idea. When it's their own idea, then they are motivated, they're going to be successful. It has to come from you. It has to be your own idea. If it's not your own idea and it's someone else's idea, you're not going to stick with it. It has to come from you. This is why doing your own science experiments and all that are so important. As much as the coaches that I hired were helpful for me and some of them were not so helpful, as I talked about, it's important to learn from each and every one of them, because each and every one of them had something to teach me. But ultimately, it was my own experimenting and my own science experiment that led me to where I'm at today. And that's having a health and a body and a mindset that I'm super happy with. And I think that I keep growing and learning, and I go through my down periods. I go through my issues with food and my weight and, the gym and things like that. I go through all that. But it's a lot better than it used to be, and I haven't struggled with this stuff in many years. So if you're struggling with this stuff and you want to apply for coaching, you can email me down below and we could chat a bit more. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.